Hi, in our Zoom session tonight, we're going to look at getting the assignment done that has to do with calculating the body mass index. Here's our week 2 assignment. So we're going to go through some of these repl activities to get that assignment done, to at least get our training in hand. So for the first thing, I wanted to show you another website that is the Python Tutor. So I want to go to this website. So I will open it here. And then I want to take this code from repl, which is just a simple hello world. And I'm going to copy it and paste it on this visualizer website, Python Tutor. Then I can click Visualize Execution. And I need to have it public in my class statement. I can notice those errors pretty quick. Now, first of all, when I look at this visualizer site, it has my code up over here in the corner. It's got a red arrow pointing at the line of code that it's ready to execute. Over here in this red box, it's saying, did I just help you fix a problem? If so, it wants you, the visualizer site wants you to tell it how great it was. I'm going to close that because I want to see what's behind this. So what's behind this here is what we have in memory so far for our program. We have our main method that's running. And if I click forward, we should run that one line of code that's inside our main method. And that line of code produces this output here, hello world, exclamation point. And I can click forward and run all the way to the end of my code and be all done. So this website is just super handy, especially for learning how Java code is working. So we'll come back to it once in a while, but I wanted you to be aware that you could just pretty much copy and paste your code to try it on that website. So no big deal. Got my stuff in the way here of my submit button, but I'm ready. That's all I needed to do with this one is run it in the visualizer. So I'm going to submit this assignment. And I'm done with it. So I'd like to go to the next assignment. To do that, I have to go back to the classroom. And now I can see that I completed that first one. So now I'll go to the next assignment. Now there's no sort of facility in place to keep you in line with the assignments. You can jump around. You can skip whatever you like. But it's great practice to do them all. So this assignment here starts out with some code, and we have a string named v1 that's set to an initial value of hello. So our hello string is enclosed in double quotes, like strings like to be, and we're assigning that value to our variable v1. Then we are issuing the system.out.println statement, which from your text you should know, that prints output to the console. And as a parameter for our print statement, we're saying we want to print v1. So if I run that code right now, I can see the output is hello, which makes sense. That's what I added to my v1 variable. So let's edit line 3 so that the program displays hello world. Okay, well, I'm going to click here and just add that word world. Now I can run this program and make sure that my output is updated. There it is. So I'm going to run the test to make sure my output is the same as the expected output. It is, so I can click close and submit. Now, of course, you could skip that run test step and just click submit and let it tell you. But it's a nice testing process to go ahead and run the test. So that finished that assignment. Now, for this assignment, if you notice, it says you completed this assignment, you could see the model solution. So let's click on that. And that's just some code that I've placed out there. So it's nothing too special right now because it's just assigning that variable a value and then printing it. But sometimes it's pretty nice to check the code and see if we did things the same, especially when we get to more advanced things. So now I'm ready for this next assignment. And this assignment says, when this program is run, it displays hello world all smushed together. Edit the program so that it displays hello world. Now, of course, there's more than one way to solve this problem. There are lots of ways, right? But we can come in here and just change our print line statement without changing the value of either of our variables and say we'd like to print a space in between those two variables. So now we're saying print v1 concatenate a space plus concatenate v2. So if I run that, I should see my message cleaned up with a space in between. So I'll submit it. And it looks good. So again, there's a model solution available. And if we look, it does the same thing where it just adds a space between those two variables, because we might not want to change the value of those variables, but we can easily place a space in between them as we concatenate our output. Okay, the next one is another one working with variables. Here we have two mistakes. Fix the mistakes so the program runs correctly. Well, I'm going to run the program so I can let the compiler tell me where the mistakes are. And it says, first of all, in line 4, it says, I expected a semicolon after this world double quote, and I did not see one. Okay, so I'll put my semicolon in there. And then let's run it again. Now this time, the error didn't occur when we were compiling, but when we were trying to run the program. So this is a runtime error. And it says on line 5, it can't find the package system. And it's telling me this word system before the dot out. Well, we know that that system library starts with a capital S. So we can run that again, and then we should be able to see some correct output, and I'll just submit it. Going right through, so they move very quickly. Now the next variables one says, edit this program so that it displays hello on one line and world on the next line. Make sure you use v1 and v2 to display the text. Again, lots of ways I can do it, but I'm going to say I'm going to print v1 plus \n, which is the new line control character, and that's the backslash character, which is above your enter key, plus v2. If I run that then, I should see my output correct. Ooh, still got one of those errors left over from that last assignment, huh? Put our semicolon in. And after some thinking, it comes out with the 2 lines. So that looks good. I'm going to submit it. Okay. Let's see what the model solution said. Oh, it approached it a little differently and output using 2 different print line statements. So that's valid. Now, looking at number 5 here, it says, run this program to see what it does. It adds the numbers stored in v1 and v2. And we want to edit this program so that it displays 100. Well, let's see what we get right now if we run it. So right now, we're getting the number 30. So we should be able to change that, and we'll just make it add 90 here. But I want to show you what happens if we don't get a match. So I'm going to choose Run Tests. And here's what happens if my output doesn't match the expected output. I can click on this red area, or I can click on this Show Details button. I'll click on this red area, and it says that the teacher expected to see this number 100, and your output is 30. And then down below, it shows you the difference. And notice it says one of the zeros matched because they did match up. So this is how repl will tell you your output doesn't match the expected output. So you have to kind of look at it and fix it, because as a software developer, we have to match what's expected of us. We can't just be, oh, it's close. No, it's got to match exactly. We could be throwing off other systems quite a bit by making things not match up properly. And of course, we could work for companies where it doesn't matter, but in general, we want to be that precise. Okay, I match now, so I'll submit this one. And then I'll check the model. Same thing. I'm pretty consistent, right? All right, so our next one is still working with variables. This time, our output is not expected at all, because we'd like the number to come out 30, but instead we're getting 1020, because they're strings, right? And when we add strings together, we concatenate them, so we place them side by side. We aren't doing any sort of math. So this is a problem. So our instructions say, edit the program so that it displays the correct total, but don't change line 5. So what we need to do then is change this to an integer. Get rid of the double quotes. And change B2 to an integer. Now, what happens if I don't get rid of the double quotes? Let's run and see. We get a runtime error, incompatible types. We can't convert this string to an integer. So we'll make it an integer. And now we should be getting our correct results without changing that line 5. Looks good. Okay, check our model. Same thing. So the next one, as you can see, these go really quickly. This program has errors, it won't run. It's supposed to show the result of 100 minus 30. Fix the program so that it works correctly. This looks a lot like that last problem, doesn't it? We'll make this an integer. Make this an integer. Now when we run it, we should see the difference. It's giving us the result of 70 that we expect. So we'll submit that. Great. And submit. Now notice, as a student, I could unsubmit this assignment if I want to do more with it. So once I submit, it's not like it's etched in stone or anything. I can still get to it, and I can make everything the way I want, if it's the way I need something. So I can have the control. Now, if I have a problem with a program, let's look at this last one here. And let's say I just can't figure it out. I have tried and tried for the life of me, but I cannot figure it out. Well, what I can do is submit this to the instructor. Now, I could put some comments or something in there if I wanted to send a message. That would be super easy. But I can also just submit it. Now, when I try to submit it without it matching, it's going to tell me I've got an output mismatch, and I need to try to figure out what's wrong. But if I can't figure it out, I'm going to click Submit anyway. Now, it says you did not pass all the tests, so you really should keep trying. But I'm going to submit anyways, because I am just sure that I've done everything right, and my teacher has it all messed up. So I'm going to submit. So as a teacher now, let me find me. So as a teacher, I have a few more courses than you as a student. I'm going to go into our Java Begins course and look at the assignments. And so me as an instructor here, this is what I see. As I scroll down, I see that one student has a question about this assignment. Now, I did not get any sort of notification from repl, so I do need you to send me an email and let me know what repl course you're in and that you had a question so that I can find your assignment. And here it is. I'm awaiting help, and I'll click on that as the instructor, and I can write some instructions here. Looks like line 4 is missing something. Now, oftentimes when I send you comments back, I'll try to make them questions or things, notes for where you can look in the textbook. By no means take this personally. Take this as an opportunity for you to enhance your learning. Because if you know what you're looking for and you find it, then you're going to be able to remember it better. Now, as the instructor, again, I'm going to make those comments and suggestions to you and then send that back. Now, as a student, let's see what it looks like. As a student, if I go in, I should see all my assignments. And here's the one that I sent to the instructor. I can see that it's been sent back. Again, you would receive a notification, but it might not be obvious as to what repl is telling you, so you might have to look to see that that's happened. Now, you'll see the instructions that I left, the feedback that I left. You can just continue working on this assignment and then submit it again when you're done. So here what our instructions are: edit the values of V1, V2, and V3 so that the final output is 100. So it doesn't matter how you do it. 10, 45, and 45. I'll run that. That should be 100, and it looks good. So I'm going to submit it. And now that it matches, it'll show on my list and the instructor's list is being complete. So the instructor can tell that your output matched and everything was great. We can look at the model solution. I don't think it's probably super exciting. Oh, 50 and 25 and 25. Big differences there, huh? Okay, so next assignment. I'm still working with variables here. This is my last variables assignment. I have a few more to work through, but again, going through them really, really quickly. It's only been a few minutes. Now in this assignment, it says add a line to this program to create a variable called V1. Add text to this variable so that the program displays, and we want it to display I love variables. And do not change line 4. I don't want you to just put it in there. I want you to create a string named V1 equal to I love variables. I'm going to run this. And I should see my correct output. Looks good. So I'm going to submit it. Awesome. Now, integral numbers, we're working with integers, so just a little bit of extra help. Here we go. We have a pretty wide open skeleton program here, and we want to create a program that uses an integer variable. Define a variable that uses an integral data type and has an identifier of student count. Okay, so I want to create a variable, an int type, and of course I need to indent int student count, and I want to set that equal to 45. And then we want to output the number of students in the class. It says use the print line statement to output the variable's value. Okay, system.out.print line student count. And so I know from all of my previous repl exercises this code, so I'll run it. Make sure I don't have any errors, nothing that I missed. And I get an output of 45, so I'm going to submit. Now at this point, the test case could be a little different. I could run into some output mismatch just for something that wasn't told to me. And that's okay, sometimes that happens. But in this case, we were able to get it accomplished right away. Now with this export button, you could copy the assignment code into a new public repl. So if you wanted to share code with me or someone else without submitting the assignment, and with someone else you wouldn't be able to, then you can copy it to a public repl and get a sharing URL to pass to others. This repl has a lot of capabilities. Now, our next one is about special operators. So for the special operators, let's look at our instructions here. It says to correct the code. The developer expected this test code to result in an answer of 2, but instead they're receiving a result of 3. So we need to correct the calculation on line 4 so the expected results are achieved. And then there's a note here. This example uses Java output formatting in the printf method. Please refer to this site for more information about that printf method. I'm going to go ahead and get this site open. On another tab, because I know that I'm going to have to come back to it since it's telling me about it. So here's what's going on. We're using the .printf instead of the .println or .print. Of course, all of these are discussed in your textbook. But with printf, we're allowed to add formatting symbols. And formatting symbols are placeholders in our output string. So in this case, the % indicates that we have a placeholder. Our output is going to be the answer is, and then whatever we use to replace this placeholder. In our code, we specify what that is, our replacement, after a comma. So within the printf parameters, we have our string with some formatting, then a comma, and then a list of variables to replace those formatting characters. And if we look at this site, it has a lot of great information for us. It says, let's see, here we'll print up to 2 decimal places, %.2f. We could add 0. So we have a lot of really helpful things that we can find online about using these formatting characters, even though our textbook doesn't really get too deep into it. All right, so that's some information about using that output formatting. It can be really fun and a great thing to play with. But I want to run this right now. And so what I'm confused about is that I've said that I want to make the answer 2. My v2 variable is 8. My v1 variable is 5. And I'm using the modulus operator here. So I'm saying 8 modulus 5. And remember, the modulus operator gives us the result of the division's remainder. So we don't get the answer, we get the remainder. So 8 divided by 5 gives us 1 as the answer, but the remainder is 3. So I'm seeing 3. Now I'd like for that to be 2. So let's see if we can change our plus plus. So if we use the shortcut plus plus operator, the increment operator, to add to V1 before I do the modulus operator, V1 will be a value of 6, and then my remainder will be 2. The way it was before, the plus plus was after the V1, saying it was a post increment. So first answer would be calculated, taking the modulus of 8 by 5, and then we would add 1 to V1. By moving the plus plus before V1, now we're going to be adding to V1 before we do that modulus command, and we should see our output is 2. Now, this post and pre-incrementer, they can be really confusing. So, try some different Java code, mess around with it, see what kind of options you have. It's something that'll really make your life a lot easier if you can get a really good understanding of it. But that's what we wanted in this one, is to really think about that, whether we want the plus plus to occur before we execute the line of code or after. Pre or post? Okay, so formatting output. I told you we're going to need that website. Here we have a number. It's a decimal number. And we're outputting it. And it looks like, according to this, we're outputting it with 4 decimal places. That's what we just saw in this thing here that said 0.2f gives us 2 decimal places. So 0.4f must give us 4 decimal places. So let's see what we want here. The requirements state that the number output should be formatted as currency. Correct the formatting so that a $sign is displayed and only 2 decimal places are used. And there is a note here. It says there is a way to format currency that you will be shown in a few assignments. For this assignment, simply add a $sign to the output string. Okay, so I'm going to put the $sign before the %sign, right? Because I don't want it to be part of my formatting. Now, if I do that, I am getting a $sign, but I'm still getting 4 decimal places. That won't match. So I need to change this number after the decimal to 2 to say it's fixed at 2 decimal places. Let's run it now. And we should see our output be properly formatted. Now, again, putting the $sign in the string is just kind of a quick fix until we're taught how to actually format currency properly. But for now, it's working, so I'm going to submit my assignment. Good. Now, the next one is a test scores app. We'll take a look at it, but we're not going to work on it together. This test scores app can be found in your textbook on page 73. And all of the code that you need is in the textbook. Now, is there any benefit to you copying the code from the textbook? You bet. There's a huge benefit. First of all, you're going to encounter questions with their code that you have to answer to figure out what's going on. Don't just type it without thinking. Try to process it in your brain as you're entering it. Plus, it will get you used to entering code like this. Now, this application uses a while loop and an if statement, and we haven't gotten quite to those yet. So be really careful with your curly braces. But I'm going to let you work on that one. And of course, you know now that if you're having trouble with it, you can just submit it, and I'll take a look at it and help you figure out what's wrong. So don't beat your head up against the wall, but do try to figure it out. A reasonable approach. Okay, so here's some instructions. Edit line 8 only, so the program displays hello name, where name is the user's name. Okay, so this one is doing some new things. We're using a scanner for the first time. And in Java, a scanner is an object that reads input from the console. So we write out a prompt to our user. They type some information in, and when they press enter, our scanner executes and picks up that data that they typed in. So we have to import the scanner library so that we are able to use the scanner object. Then we have to create the scanner object. In this case, we called that SC. And we say this is a new scanner object that's reading input from the system console. And then we can use our SC, our scanner, to read data. And it has many different commands available. So one of the commands is next line, and that'll read a whole line of input. It's reading that line and going to place it into the variable name. So whatever variable we have before our equal sign, our scanner is going to read that data and put that into that variable. And then we can output that variable. So I just need to output name, right? That's what I read it in as. So I guess I need more than just the name. I need the word hello is a string followed by our name variable. So let's run it. I'm going to put in my name, and it says hello, and it says my whole name. Now I want to show you something. If I made this scanner command do next instead of just next line, it only reads up to the first word. So notice how those different scanner commands can affect your input. So since I was only reading in the first name, I only output the first name. Garbage in, garbage out. So now I've got that fixed. I should be able to run the tests. Looks great. I'll submit it. Okay. Read line, input 2. For this assignment, I want to, first of all, look closely at the, cannot create a new submission for this assignment. What's that mean? I'll have to look that up. It's mad at me, isn't it? Now, it's probably because we've had so many people submit, it's not going to let me have any more. I'm probably going to have to pay somebody some money. We shall see. It went away. Okay. It heard me talking about money. It was like, okay, it's fine. Now, what I'm going to try to do here is see what happens. So look closely at this program. It asks you a question. You'll need to type in your name in the black console window when it asks for it and press enter. Try it and then submit it. Looks like this one should have come first, huh? Did I go backwards? I just have them in the wrong order, so let's run it. Let it read my name, and there it is. It says you don't need to change anything in this program. Just submit it. Let me submit it. So I'm not sure what's going on. All right, so mistake number 1 in the read line. There's a mistake on line 7 of this program. It won't run. Fix the mistake on line 7. Well, I could just start going hairy-carry, right? But I think I want to see what kind of error message I get so that I'll know what kind of mistake I'm looking for. It says on line 7, cannot find symbol, SC dot next line. Notice the little caret character is showing, pointing at the dot. So it's something after that. It says method next line. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's because the L in next line should be capital. So that should fix our problem. we can run it and see our output, and everything looks perfect. So I'm going to submit that. Next. One more mistake. There are mistakes on in this program. Fix them. So I'm going to run it again to get some error messages. First of all, it says on line 6, was expecting a semicolon. Line 6, sure enough, missing a semicolon at the end. So now let's see what we got. Now it says line 8, cannot find symbol, name. Well, that's probably because my variable has a lowercase n, not an uppercase n. Is that all of them? Let's see. All of our syntax errors. So it is giving me my name output, but I better put a space after that word hello, because we know that's not going to be right. We'll run it again. So that would be a logic error, right? That we were missing that space. We could call it a formatting error, but the program will run and produce incorrect results. Good. So let's see where we are now. Another read line. Okay, in this example, we have a prompt, what is your name? And then set up our scanner and read input into name. Next, we're outputting a prompt, what's your favorite food? And we're reading using our scanner into a new variable. Notice that we can use this one scanner over and over for all of those different reads. We don't need another scanner or anything. We just need different variables to hold the data. Then we're going to output this message, hello, your name, and then we're going to tell them their food is yucky. That's not very nice to say bad things about their favorite food. So let's change this program so that it says good things about their food. We want it to say, I like whatever food you like too. So let's fix that. That should be the only thing that we need to change. So I'm going to go to this last print line statement and make it the I like space food and after the food we'll say 2 exclamation point. Now I'm going to run this. Typo. What's my favorite food? Oh, I just love chicken. No. Oh, it's so nice. They like chicken too. How sweet. So let me submit that. Looks right. Perfect. And now remember, I'm not looking at the model solution because I made it. And it's probably going to be pretty much like I did here. But you can always look. You always want to look, especially at the more advanced ones. Okay, another read line. And in this one, we want to create a program that asks the user for their name and says hello to them. For example, it should output this message, what is your name? We type in this value, we should see this message. So we have a skeleton here that's giving us our main class and our main method. So first I want to add, we've got already an import for the scanner. So let's set up our scanner object. We'll call it SC. And we say it's a new scanner reading from system.in. Then I want to output a message. And notice I'm going to use system.out.print. And I'm going to output the message, what is your name? And I'm going to put a space after that because when they type it in, their cursor is going to be on the same line since I did a print, not a print ln. And I want it to be a space separated from the prompt. Okay, so I've got that prompt. I'll read their name into a string named name. And I want to read that whole line, right? Because if they typed a space or something in their name, I want to get it all. Okay, so that looks good. So now we've got their name, so I should be able to just print out hello plus their name. Let's run it. And I'll use the supplied input here. This is Java SE, right? Okay, hello, this is Java. And it looks right. It's outputting the correct information. So I'm going to submit it. Great. Now, the last two are ones that we'll have to leave to you. First of all, the Big Invoice app can be found in your textbook. And again, all the code is in your textbook. And if you can take the code in the textbook and add this little bit of currency formatting, you'll be able to replicate this really nice program that's really great practice. So good practice for you. And then the assignment is the BMI calculator. Now the BMI calculator is going to require a little bit of code because you're going to have to read in two different data fields, the weight in pounds and the height in inches. Then you're going to do some of the things that you've learned in your book, like create a final variable to hold this kilogram conversion factor and create a final variable to hold this meters conversion factor. Then you're going to do the formula up here where you're going to say, we're going to take our weight in kilograms, so that weight that they entered times that conversion factor would be their weight in kilograms. And then we're going to divide it by the square of your height in meters. So again, we're going to take our height in inches and multiply it by that conversion factor, square that result, and use that to divide into our weight, and that'll give us our body mass index. So a little more formulas than what we've had to do in the repl activities, but not nearly as much as what you've done in the examples from your textbook. So hopefully you can merge all this information together and get it all set up to finish this assignment. And it's a good foundational assignment to kind of get you going. So hope you have a great night. Thank you.